Okay, let's work with some seventh chords. And remember, seventh chords are just triads that we've added one more note to, which is a seventh above the bottom note. So in this case, should look more like a B there. So we have a C, E, G, B chord, which would be a C major seventh chord. Now, we call this doing the figured bass, where what happens is we identify the position of the seventh chord by some abbreviated numbers that we do. So, and we've always figured it from whatever the bottom note is. Let me see if I can do that so we don't lose that. All right, so we figure out that this is a seventh above the note, and then a fifth above the note, and then a third above the note. And when we abbreviate this, we normally just leave these two out, and so this would be labeled a C major 7 chord. Now, if we would put it in its first inversion, that means we would move the C up to the top. So we keep the other 3, put the C over here. Then this is what we call a 6, 5, 3 chord, because we have a sixth above, we have a fifth above, and a third above, and this gets abbreviated just a 6, 5. So this would be labeled a C major 6, 5. Our second inversion means that we're going to take both the C and the E to the top. And I'm not too good at writing. I don't know exactly the whole protocol of writing these out, but let's try that. So there's usually one note that's off to the side. All right, so now we have a sixth above the note. We have a fourth above the bottom note, and then we have a third above the bottom note. And this we abbreviate by taking off the 6, and so it's going to be a C major 4, 3. And finally, you can have a third inversion with this, which means that we're going to keep the B where it was and then stack our triad like that. And now we have a sixth above, a fourth above, and a second above. And we take away the 6. Oftentimes you'll see that either 4, 2, or oftentimes it's just a 2. So it would look like a C major 4, 2, or a C major 2. Okay? So that is how we figure out the inversions and how we're going to label them. Major, we just put the 7. The first inversion is going to be labeled 6, 5. The second inversion is going to be labeled 4, 3, and the third inversion is going to be labeled either 2 or 4, 2. Okay. Now what I'd like to do is I would like to show you some cards of some seventh chords. And I'm going to see if I can leave that up, because you can always just pause the video if you need time to figure out how to do this. It might help. Hopefully you have a piece of staff paper and you could just copy this out and then label it underneath, and then you can check and see if you got what I got. Okay. So here's your first chord. We're going to start with some treble clef ones. Okay, and again there, let's do it like that so you can kind of see the background. And this is a C 4, 3. Now it's not a C major 4, 3 because it's a dominant 7 chord. So we just put the number without the letter. Remember, you can have major triad, major seventh chords, minor seventh chords, and dominant 7 chords, which is a major triad with a minor 7th on the top. You can also have some diminished 7th chords, but we don't get tested on those, so at this point I'm not going to make you be responsible for those. All right, here's your next one. And this is a B4-3. One more treble clef. This one should seem pretty easy. And it's an A minor 6-5. Let's try some bass clef. This one is in its root position, so it's going to be E flat 7. This one is the first inversion chord, and that's going to be a F 6-5. And finally, and that's going to be D flat major 7. Okay, that gives you a little more experience with that, and if you are still struggling with those, we will work with some of them on the Tenuto program, or you could even go online yourself and look for some extra practice with some kinds of 7th chord theory games.